when we were speaking on the phone and coordinating the whole podcast, you had said, you're living the dream right now. And I was extremely stressed at that time because I was trying to coordinate several other things right now. And I was like, you know what, you're right. And so it just kind of gave me that moment of like 5-6 years ago where I was manifesting a life of travel and connecting with people and making things happen. I'm now living that. So it brought me back to that faith of like, okay, well, these things that I want in the next couple of years, if this is what I want, then this is what will be, and it's really crazy how life kind of comes, because it comes from the mind, you manifest it, but you have to be in that receiving mode and right mindsets in order to attract those blessings.
Yes.
Otherwise you will self-sabotage.
Yeah. That's my sophisticated ear, because I have a sophisticated woman in the building with me.
I love it.
See sophistication from that ear. Do you hear it? Thank you for joining me, Deanna.
Thank you, Deja. I'm very excited to be here on Mind Over Matter, baby.
Yes.
I'm excited. Thank you for having me.
Welcome. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to Mind Over Matter, baby. I'm your host, Deja Wallace. And if this is your first time joining me, welcome. If this is not, welcome back. Like, I appreciate you. Like, you really came back to listen again to some gems being dropped. And I hope you catch them. Okay? That was a bar, right?
It was.
So I have the lovely Deanna Harris here with me, and she is, must I say, like a content creator?
Yes, content creator, journalist, producer, writer, executive producer,
What
CEO,
else?
everything. Just do everything now,
Talk show personality.
Yes, host, on air talent.
All of it. And Chatting with D.
Yes.
She's also the CEO, founder of Chatting with D.
Correct, yes.
And her platform really just is for people who are looking for just some upliftment, encouragement, and it's catered to a younger audience, right?
Right. So basically I created Chatting with D when I came out of college in 2017. I was really inspired by my family and their background. They've been in entertainment for years on end. So I'll definitely get into that as we continue our conversation. But it's basically inspired by them. And I kind of grew up in this field of entrepreneurship. So I wanted to create a platform where I was talking to different people on their trials and tribulations and what it takes to really become successful as an entrepreneur. And then we gear it towards the youth so they can live out their dreams. I believe that knowledge is power. So we tailor all of our content around empowering the youth and enlightening them.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So on today's episode, I want to talk about entrepreneurship versus mental health, because you are now officially doing entrepreneurship full time.
Yes, full time.
We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about your transition into it. How has your mindset developed through it? Because the show is about mindset.
Yes.
And just your trials and tribulations. Why did you start Chatting with D?
Yes.
So kick back, relax, and enjoy this episode.
Yes. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
of course. So, Chatting with D.
Yes. So where you need to be.
Yep. What inspired you to start your own platform?
So, graduated in 2017, and I really wanted to be able to have a platform where I'm giving back and also connecting with people and inspiring the youth to go after their dreams and aspirations and all those great things that this world has to offer. So My family, they have been in the entertainment and music industry for a very long time. So I was inspired by my grandfather, Ralph Mercado. He was a very famous Latin promoter and producer. He founded Marc Anthony, Celia Cruz, La India, a lot of the salsa singers you may know of today. And so I grew up in this industry. I saw a lot of the behind the scenes, and I saw that there was kind of a need for a platform to connect the older generation and the younger. We learn from our ancestors. We learn from the older people in our elders. We learn from them. So they have so much wisdom to give. And as I was growing up and having conversations and understanding, I was like, I want to create something here, So I got my family together. My father does all the editing and directing of the show.
That's so cool, yeah.
My brother does the music. He's an artist in New York. He's an engineer. My sister does the hair. So this is Did by D. And then my
She's
mother...
slayed, by the way.
Yeah. Then my mother does all the talent coordination. She had did PR for my grandfather for a very long time. And so it's a family-run production company. And now, just recently, I'll share that we have been expanding in our collaboration with other people and stuff. So I have a couple exciting projects that will be coming out. And that's where it all started.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's actually really rare to have that, like a whole family behind you with your production. That's a healed family right there.
Yeah, it's definitely a blessing, and that's definitely what I want to show in our community, that we can come together as family and be led by family in the proper way, and show that the importance of it as well, to come together as community to help continue to inspire one another. So
okay,
yeah,
nice. So what really pushed you to make that transition, that big step to fully focus on your dream, essentially?
Yeah. So at my previous job, I was looking for a lot more growth in what I was doing, and I was looking for that next level. And so I'm very spiritually led about a lot of the work that I do. So I asked for certain signs from God on what direction I need to go in, and he told me it was my time to take that leap of faith. And so you have to be obedient in a lot of the things that he asks for you. So I was like, all right, if this is my path and my purpose, and this is what I'm supposed to be doing moving forward, then let's go. And I just took the leap. And since then, I've been provided for in many different ways. I've been able to expand my network. I've been able to travel. I've been able to connect with so many different people just by stepping out on that leap of faith and knowing that the place that I was at served its purpose for that time, and that it was time to grow in other aspects and areas.
How did your mindset develop? Because when I started Mind Over Matter, like everything I'm doing in my outside life is like I'm trying to like emanate the core messaging of my business. You know, it's like a baby. You have to like be good for your business, be good for your your baby.
Yeah,
so
I love that.
Yeah. How did your mindset develop compared to when you first started until now?
It takes time for the mindset to develop and to understand what direction you want to go in when you're growing a brand or a business, and how you want to be represented within the community, and how you want to really, represent yourself. So I think that through different challenges, it's helped me to push me to be my better self and that better mindset. I really practice a lot of like mindfulness, meditation, yoga. I make sure that I'm getting my steps in, you know what I mean? Just times where I can have to myself, because if I don't put myself first, then I can't be the best person or leader that I can be within my brand or business or wherever I'm doing it, and, with work. So I always make sure that I have time for myself, especially in the early morning or in the evening, and that just kind of like sets the tone for the day. I feel like I'm always doing research. I'm always reading. I'm listening to YouTube videos, and I always come across like how to rewire your subconscious and what does that look like. And usually it starts from the beginning of the day, what you're listening to, what you're feeding yourself, affirmations, always telling myself, I deserve this, I can do this. and reaffirming yourself that you are at the right place at the right time. And through that, and as I said before, challenges, they help you to grow through yourself and your business and everything. So,
Okay.
yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. That's mind over matter right there.
Yeah, there you go. Mind over matter all the time. It all starts in the mind.
Exactly.
So,
So many places I want to take this conversation, and I want to lean back into your family, that foundation.
yes.
Personally, I feel like right now I have to be the generational curse breaker. And with that comes with a lot of sacrifice, like how your grandfather sacrificed certain things because he was an immigrant, correct?
Yeah. Well, my grandfather's grandfather. So I'm like a couple generations removed.
Okay.
So I'm basically the byproduct of what they've dreamed of over all these years. You know what I mean? All the sacrifices made. And I appreciate you seeing it from that standpoint, because our ancestors have made those sacrifices so that we can live a life that they have dreamed of over the years. And the sacrifices, I know, were not easy, you know, and being a generational curse breaker, that is a blessing and a curse in a lot of ways, because you have to make those sacrifices, but you know your child's going to be well off than you were when you were growing up, and so on and so forth. So it's all worth it at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know?
It's taking away the quick instant gratification for a long term.
Yes. And that's what our society loves, is a quick instant gratification. There's a lot of hard work that goes on behind the scenes, guys. It's not all overnight.
That's what is that what does IG stand for? Instant
I guess so.
Isn't it?
Instagram, instant gratification.
I don't know. I
Well,
just thought that just randomly
it makes
came to my
sense
head.
if that's the case, you know?
Yeah. Your family had to make a lot of sacrifices for you to be in the position that you are in right now. Yes. So how important is it to you to just carry that baton that they passed off to you?
Yeah, that's a great question. And sometimes I feel like it does come with a lot of different pressures, but knowing that I have them to lean on them is everything that I could ask for and more. And just knowing that this mission that I'm doing is so much bigger than myself. And I get reminded every day by there's certain people that I connect with. There's certain people that just like, you know, tell me the positive affirmations of like, hey, Dee, I saw this interview and I was inspired to go after my brand more. And I'm like, this is what it's all about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I've been able to connect with so many different people throughout the world, who then have connected with other people who have shared my work, and then I'm able to connect with them, and then they share their work. So it's so much bigger than just me, Dee. It's so much bigger.
Right.
And I'm remembering that every single day as I continue to work towards this goal that I have of just spreading knowledge, especially within our community, and inspiring the youth. They are our future, so we must feed into them and let them know that we are here for them as well. So it's so much bigger than me.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
So was this something you've always envisioned yourself doing, like from the beginning, from baby D days?
That's a great question, but it really wasn't. I actually don't really like being in the spotlight. I'm very like introverted in a lot of ways. I can be out there and do my thing because that's what I have to do. But a lot of times I like to just like be at home, watching TV, cuddled up on the couch, you know what I mean? Having my little cup of tea. But I see that God has led me into this purpose, and this is what I need to do. And I've realized that throughout the years. So I'm stepping into it full form. And I've always just wanted to be able to connect with people and give back to my community, because I've seen a lot, I've experienced a lot. I know a lot of people who need it, whether that's, you know, physical, spiritual, mentally, a lot of people need in a lot of ways. And like I said before, if there's somebody who gets inspired by the one interview that I do, then that's enough. That's what matters.
You did say like you're more on the introverted side, so to say. I can account to that too. And I feel like I kind of call myself a journalist because that's what I studied in college. And I feel like what we're doing is a form of journalism in a way. Even if it's credible or not, it's still journalism.
Yes,
and something interesting that one of my professors had told me was that a lot of journalists are on the introverted side, and they do journalism because it gives them that rush. It gets them out their comfort zone.
Yes, yes. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and it kind of like builds their confidence in a way.
Yes.
So it was always something I always thought about. Like, that's interesting. And a lot of other people that have podcasts or journalists, they're very like chill introverts.
Yep. And a lot of people in the industry, a lot of people that I come across in music entertainment, a lot of them are very to themselves. A lot of artists, like, they go on stage and they're that character. You know, they embody that. And that's how they're continuing to do what they're doing and inspiring people and living out their dreams and their crafts. And when they're on stage, they're very regular people. Yeah. So it goes, you know, hand in hand with journalism of like stepping out of your comfort zone and, you know, telling the stories that need to be told, you know, credible or not.
And there's a quote that sticks out to me a lot, that on the other side of fear is everything you ever wanted. So, like, as an introvert, like, starting your first episode of a podcast is, like, the most nerve-wracking thing ever. Like, I hate my voice. Why do I sound like that? Why do I look like that? Like, I look lopsided in the camera. Like the mirror did not just show that.
Right.
How has courage played a part in you starting your journey? And how has your confidence, like, built over time?
Yeah. Well, I definitely got my courage and my inspiration from my family, because I saw how talented they were, and I was struggling to figure out what my gifts were, because we all have gifts. We just have to figure out how to tap into them and really use it for our life purpose and eventually, you know, make money and things of that nature. But we all have gifts. And so I was surrounded by so many talented people and their gifts and my family. And I'm like, okay, so what do I do to be able to bring this all together and continue to inspire people? So that's where a lot of my courage came from. And that eventually led up my confidence and my comfort zone and talking with people on Chatting with D, just like going out there and being like, hey, like, what do you have to say? Like, it takes a lot for, you know, because sometimes people are like that. Especially in New York, they'd be like, out my face, you know, so it depends. And then as you continue to interview people, you learn from them, and they're just like us, you know, a lot of them are just like us who have a dream, a vision, a purpose, and they've made it. And a lot of them are in positions where they're able to give back and inspire the next generation to come. So when you see all the glitz and the glam and all that, like, a lot of that is a lot of fun, and that's when you've like made it. But there's a lot of hard work that goes behind that. And I kind of just went off track a little bit, but
it's all good.
I've gotten my confidence from just keep doing it. Keep doing it. No matter if I have like a little like thing in the back of my head where it's like, Deanna, you can't do it, but I just keep telling myself. I do a lot of writing as well. Especially when I'm feeling, you know, I have my moments of insecurity or I feel like I can't do it. I write it out, leave it on the piece of paper, and then I move on to the next. So
a lot of the times, too, when you step out on faith, just pure faith, a lot of things start aligning.
Yes.
And you're like, God, is that you?
Right. Are you sure?
Yeah. So it's a beautiful thing. Yes. And it does definitely build your confidence because you're doing the work now. And it's like,
right. Exactly.
I have things to show for what I'm doing. So that really drives a lot. Yeah, so what specific habits do you practice like daily to stay mindful?
Habits. Let's see. So I like cooking. I know it's so random. Okay. But it helps me to get the nutrients that I need in order to continue going. Because especially in New York, you're on the go when it comes to New York. And if you're not prepared, you will crash. You will burn out, which I've experienced before, which is like no joke burnout. So I feel like now that I'm in this full time, I'm learning how to balance my different habits. Yoga.
Oh, okay.
Yoga. I really like to do yoga. Exactly. It keeps me centered. And then my walks, really, I feel like I need to build up my habits a bit more as I continue to go on this journey of entrepreneurship, and just staying consistent to my schedule. So, those are my habits.
It's funny because always being on the go, like being from New York, sometimes you have to force yourself to be mindful.
Yes. especially in New York.
Yeah, it's like
a lot going on here.
You have to like just shut off your phone. Like, you know what? No.
Yes.
Just focus on just you being present. You
yes.
know? It's really hard.
It is hard. And a lot of times I find my phone just on do not disturb, because if not, it's a constant ding from this app or call from this person. And it's like constant. It's like I can't focus on what I need to do at hand.
Yeah.
You know?
And as a creative, that could be very detrimental to your flow state.
Exactly.
Because like, say, you know, you're editing a clip or like you're trying to do something, but somebody's trying to call you and it's very important. Like, it really combats with just being present and being mindful.
Yeah. And then also managing your time, which can be hard as well, depending on where you're trying to do business and expand yourself. If it's here on the East Coast, if you're, you know, trying to make a call out to the West Coast, how am I going to create this balance as I continue to expand? You know? And so I think the other day I put up a quote and it said, feed your focus and starve your distractions. And so that just like clicked with me. I'm like, oh, I like this one. You know what I mean? Because your distractions can come from every single form. You just don't even know that it's a distraction or something that's deterring you from reaching your end goal.
Right.
You know, because when we're trying to reach our goals, that's when the distractions come in. So
talk about that. Expand on that, please.
Wow.
Please, Deanna. Expand.
Depends on how, you know.
It seems like, I'm glad that you brought that up. So it seems that like, all right, so I fully committed myself to Christianity. I brought that up to you. Like, I got baptized and everything.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Awesome.
And I swear it seems like sin is knocking at the door now.
Well, that's what happens when you get closer to the, you know, the Lord and what he wants for your life, you know. Right. You have a decision to make. So it's either you're going to go closer to him or you're going to go closer to sin.
Every day it feels like, are you going to choose this path or that path?
Yeah.
This path or that path? And I love that you brought up obedience earlier. Because on that path of obedience is where the long-term fulfillment comes from.
Yes, for sure.
And when you're looking to like distract yourself, it's so easy to just, the illusions come up more like, oh no, you could like come take this path and
exactly.
It'll be all fun and
yes, but that usually doesn't fulfill you in the long term.
Yeah.
So you have to, excuse me, that's why I go into like making sure that you have a schedule that aligns with what your purpose is, because then that will keep you focused.
Right.
You know, and that will keep you focused towards your purpose, your goals, and everything that you want to do, you know, under his kingdom, you know. So it all really depends on, like, back to obedience and what direction you want to go in. So
why do you think these distractions are like so loud once you decide and commit that you want to be a child of God?
Yeah. I think that we live in this worldly world. This is, you know, and when we come into certain alignments, it's sin. The devil is always going to be knocking at our door. That's just what it is. We live in this worldly world. So you have to make sure that, especially when you're coming towards a breakthrough, you have to make sure that you are going even harder than you were previously, because that can just put you back to square one. I was actually just on TikTok earlier, and
wait, you think I'm back at square one? Because I feel like I messed up a little.
We're human.
Okay,
we're human, right. Girl. No, please.
Okay.
Every day I'd be like, can you forgive? You know. We are human, and that's when he.
But it was a lot of pressure.
No, I get it. Listen, I've had
just a little.
No, it's okay. Like, we're human, and that's where God gives us our grace. And this is something that I'm still learning to this day. You know, and this is something I'm going to forever be learning.
Yeah,
I have different mentors who have guided me in this industry as well, who have guided me and really have taught me what it is to be, you know, a woman of God. And it's not an easy path, you know. I think we always joke about, like, God puts you on his, like, strongest warriors list. I'm like,
strongest soldiers.
I'm like, can you take me off, please? Because I can't do this. But he doesn't give you any problem or thing that you cannot go through.
Yeah.
And that's what you have to constantly remind yourself.
And trust that.
And trust that. especially when I took that leap of faith and, quit my job. That was super intense for me because I didn't know if I had that stability moving forward. But what I've learned throughout this process is that you have to embrace the unknown. You have to be able to know that he's your provider, because there's so many different ways that eventually I'll share, my testimony, because I'm still living it. I'm sure you're still living it as well. And when the time is right, you'll be led to share what it is. But there's so many little moments that I've had, and I was like, that was God, like I made it through because of him. So still on this journey, still learning, and still being obedient where I can, because we are human. And just remember that.
She's right. Okay, I want to get into, you brought something up earlier about quitting your job, right?
Yes.
There was a moment where I felt very overwhelmed at my old job. So I left. I made my decision to leave. And for me personally, I feel like I'm never going to be fulfilled at a job until I have some type of autonomy, So even if I'm going to the next job, it's still going to present the same type of challenges because I don't have no autonomy, no say over what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And all of that being said, you have brought up something very important, trying to remember exactly what you said. But it's scary, the unknown.
Yes. For sure.
And sometimes when you are stepping out into the unknown, other people try to protect you and make you go back to the known because
Ooh, yes. That's a good point.
they feel like you need to know what you're doing. So everything's predictable, everything is going to be okay. It's like a coddling you, just go, don't quit. You need the job.
Yes.
You need the money. What are you gonna do? Just, and sometimes it could be very anxious feel when you bring that up. And
Exactly.
all of that being said, do you think that people ideas of success is individualistic? Your idea of success isn't going to be somebody that you love, like your mother idea of success.
Right. I think that we all have our own ideas of success, of what we want within our lives, and you have to determine exactly what you want to do and go for it. You cannot be listening to, and this is what I've learned throughout, because sometimes I can be like, oh, well, it's okay. Well, maybe I'll do it. No. You have to literally figure out what you want for your life and go for it. And there's always going to be people in your ears until the day that you die. Even if it's from choosing a certain slice of pizza to the other. You know what you want. You know what I mean? You got to trust your intuition. You have to trust that you know what you want and just go for it. And the naysayers, and that's just like the devil talking, at the end of the day, in the back of your mind, or whoever's trying to deter you from fulfilling your purpose and your passion. So you know what you want and you know how to go after it. You just got to look for the signs in order to get there. So, yeah.
Well said. How does helping others, because you did say that this platform is bigger than you, and you really want to specifically cater to the younger generation, right?
Right.
So how does helping others through your platform contribute to your own success and fulfillment? Because it's bigger than money. That feeling,
it's way
money
bigger.
Can't buy.
No, it can't. And I mean, money's of this world. It's so much better when you have that connection and relationship with someone. That's what pushes you forward and drives you forward as well. Your network is your net worth. And you always remember that. Somebody can refer you because of the relationship you've had with them for the past 5 to 10 years versus somebody who has just paid you for something that they needed done, and in this industry, I feel like the connections go so much further and relationships go so much further than any monetary gain. So definitely your network is your net worth. Always remember that.
Quote. I'm a quoter.
Yes, network is network. And that's why I'm always out at these networking events. Anytime I'm in a different city, I'm like, okay, if I have some time and there's a happy hour, I'm going to this event. A lot of these events are free too. Just position yourself in places within your field that you want to be in, and then just look them up on Google. That's what I do. I'm like, okay, where can I network here? Like when I travel, if I'm here or if I'm in Miami, if I'm in LA, I'm always looking for opportunity to grow my network anywhere I'm at. So yeah, and people are very friendly too. You know, people want to get to know other people. People want to be able to expand their networks as well. So yeah, that's what it all comes down to.
There's been like this facade that's trying to be sold that people are like antisocial. You know what I mean? Especially like New York has that stigma.
I get that sometimes.
Yeah.
I think honestly, sometimes after COVID, I feel like people came a lot more just like to themselves because everybody was inside to themselves.
Yeah.
But
they had to learn how to be social again.
Exactly. So. I think we all did.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
What's like your overall, without spilling too much, giving them too much of the blueprint, what is your overall vision for Chatting with Dee?
Yeah. So right now, transitioning from a passion project to a full-fledged media production team. And yeah. So that's the vision. And I really just hope to be able to give opportunities, continue to grow the business, grow the brand, give opportunities to the youth in really any city or country that I'm in, continue to tell people stories. That's the blueprint. That's the basis of everything. Like, I do a lot of work in Grenada in the Caribbean. And so when I was there, I was able to connect with a lot of different artists and influencers. And that was such a blessing because when I travel, I'm always looking to connect with the people. You know, the people know where it's at. You have to be able to connect with people. And so when I would interview them, they would tell me about their island and all the beautiful amenities that it has there, and also about their stories and their culture. And I appreciate moments like that. And so I hope to continue to do that all around the world. And also, you know, right even here in New York, there's a lot of help that's needed here as well. So I hope to be able to connect with different people and different spaces and continue to just enlighten people, encourage people, spread that knowledge, especially within our community. So that's the goal.
Specifically with like travel, you learn a lot through other people's stories.
Yes, you do. You'd be so surprised. And, you know, I think the more that I travel and then when I come back to New York, I think sometimes we tend to forget how much we might take this place for granted. Because you can literally go on the corner and have an amazing conversation with someone and not even expect that. I think before I was telling you I came here, I met some pretty cool guys and they were just like, hey, how are you? How you doing? Like, blah, blah. And it was just an authentic conversation. And then as I'm on my way here, I meet another girl. I'm asking her for direction. And she's like, you can do this. So we're not that mean in New York. We have our moments. But I think we have to also recognize like there's so much here to do. Yeah, as we continue to travel and things of that nature. So
for sure, yeah. Makes you appreciate home.
Yes, it does. It does make you appreciate home.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you do public interviews when you travel? Like, is it specifically public interviews or you're sitting down talking to people? It's just a combination of everything?
Combination. So depending on when schedules align, who I reach out to, who I pitch myself to, things of that nature. Also pitching myself to get press passes, doing red carpet events, things of that nature. So it's a mix of really everything.
I'm just trying to network, get your name out.
Network, get my name out there, and then just share those positive stories that I come across and encouraging people. I've done I did the red carpet for Urban World, which was a couple years ago with BET, HBO.
Dope.
Yeah, which was so much fun. Yeah. And it was a really exciting experience because you always see it on TV when you're growing up, but when you're in the field, you're like, wow, this is real. Like the celebrities are going down the carpets. You got the interviewers being so it's like a scene. And so there was one interview that I had with Cynthia Ervio. Correct me if I'm saying her name wrong, but she played Harriet Tubman. And
I know the face.
Yes.
I'm not sure if you're pronouncing it.
Yes, I believe that's how you pronounce it. And she had said something about not taking no as an answer. And since then, it has always stuck with me. But yeah, we do stuff like that. Then we do cultural events. I've covered Spice Mass in Grenada. That's their carnival. Yeah. And also cultural event, if you ever have the chance to go. the Puerto Rican Day Parade. We just did that at the top of this month with the New York City Governor, Kathy Hochul. So that was really cool.
Yeah, I seen that.
That was really cool.
Fun.
That was dope. So anywhere where there's a lot of positive things going on and just sharing people's stories and keeping it positive, but keeping it real at the same time. So yeah.
Beautiful. Where do I want to go with this? Because I don't think I want to ask this.
Oh no.
What's the biggest misconception you think there is about starting your own business and being your own boss?
Yeah. I feel like the biggest misconception has to be there's always constant success, especially when you see that on Instagram, social media. People think you're always outside making these and it's always successful. Like, no, in the field of entrepreneurship, there's always your ups and downs. Like, sometimes you don't know if you're going to be able to hit your numbers, and other days you hit your numbers beyond than what you thought. And so I think that having that flexibility and be able to adapt accordingly and embracing the unknown is really what's going to make you thrive in this industry, in this field of entrepreneurship. But I think there's a really big misconception of always being super successful.
It's funny because the last person I asked this question, she had said, like, people try to glamorize it in a way. And it's like, I'm trying to remember exactly what she said. But she was like, being your own boss is overrated.
It is in a lot of ways. You have a lot of responsibility, and don't forget to do your taxes because the IRS will come for you. Seriously, it's real. And a lot of those things are taken care of when you're working with a corporate company, or like at least they're I wouldn't say more organized, but we don't get to know that knowledge as easily. So when you become your own boss, there's a whole different ball game of things that you need to be able to make sure you have in order. Make sure that you're covered legally. Make sure that you're covered financially, whether it's getting a lawyer for your business, an accountant, making sure your assistant is keeping you on track as well. So there's all these things that come into play that you have to be able to manage and look out for. Make sure you're trusting the right people with the money that comes in as well. That's another huge thing. Money makes the world go round. So people sometimes get crazy. Yeah. So and that's why I rely so heavily on my faith in the signs, because of all these different responsibilities that are needed to be able to run a business properly. Yeah.
And it's beautiful that you have your family helping you too, and as that foundation, because they basically set you up to have that knowledge.
Right, yes.
You didn't go in there completely blindsided.
Yeah.
And it also helps you think beyond just next year, 2 years,
Yeah, no, for sure.
You're thinking generationally because they started that.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Always thinking generationally. Eventually I'll have my own set of kids and they'll have their kids and they'll continue, my legacy, or they'll build even more of a legacy, you know what I mean? And that's what I want to show. That's what I want to continue to show in our community. And it's definitely been a blessing to work with them. And it's always crazy to work with family, but it's definitely a blessing.
Yeah. Trust me, I know.
Yeah.
Even like with the networking thing, I love that you brought up how important it is to network, because you just never know who you're going to meet.
Exactly.
Even like the way we met. It was pretty like random.
That's right, we were on set for film. Exactly. And we never know.
Yeah.
So, meeting through Judith, through Black Women in Media.
Yeah.
She has a great network of people to connect with. So, even a blessing that we met through that.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything you have on your mind? You could ask me questions. I'm going to ask some more questions, though.
Okay.
I'm going to go to my TikTok and ask questions from there.
Okay, cool. I guess, where do you see yourself going? Takes time.
Let me think. It's hard.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's
honestly.
okay. And that's okay too. I mean, all the work that I've seen you produce so far has been really good and it's been very informative. Like I said, knowledge is power.
Yeah.
And so that's what I got from watching your stuff. So
I'm glad
you're on the right path.
I'm glad you got something.
Yeah. I always say the same thing.
Yeah. I need to work on that visualization. I always say that. Because like it's literally like when I try to think too far, it just gives me anxiety. I'm just like, you know what?
No, I know. It does for me too. You can only really plan but so far ahead.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, I joke now that I go hour by hour. Things. I'm like, I have things
That's
planned.
real. That's
The other day was minute by minute. So, but now we're back to hour by hour. Maybe it'll be day by day again, but I don't know.
Because for me, I feel like when you're working like and you're in it, sometimes it's hard to see
Right.
fully because you're in it.
Right.
You can't see something that you're in.
Right. Exactly.
So I'm trying to take it day by day, like you said, and just like achieve every day.
Yeah.
You know, conquer every day
Yeah.
better than the last.
Yes. That's all you can do.
Yeah.
You can plan but so far ahead, but life can hit us in 20 million ways.
That's
at
why
once.
that question like literally makes my heart sink. I'm
Yeah.
like, ugh.
I know.
Because even sometimes you plan stuff and it doesn't end up how you want it to end up.
Exactly. All
Yeah.
the time. Even being here now, I'm like, there were so many plans that I had to get done, and then it switched up and another plan came through and it was better than I thought it was. So that's how I always try to think. Like, it's going to be better than what I planned.
Yeah.
You know, so.
It's not happening to you, it's happening for you.
Yes, exactly. We're just dropping gems.
Yep. Catch them, y'all.
Yeah.
Have you ever experienced burnout?
Yes, I have experienced
And how did
burnout.
you deal with that?
Yes. So I was experiencing burnout when I was working full time, and I was doing Chat with D full time, and then I was working a bunch of like different odd jobs, but like I was just doing it all. And I talked about trying to balance like my masculine and feminine energy as a woman, and what does that look like. So I kind of just like quit everything at one point when I was really feeling overwhelmed, and I made my way back to the Caribbean islands, spent some time there by myself.
Oh, that's fire.
Yes, which was a blessing. Stepped out on
Yeah.
faith and did that. Was able to create a documentary based out there, an all-women-led team. So that was really exciting. And through that documentary and that interview, it's called Divine Feminine Energy with Joelle Frederick. We spoke about the importance of taking a step back as women, and understanding what it is to rest in your feminine and still lead as a boss, and still be able to
That's it right there.
know the difference between your intuition, your anxiety, and really trying to figure out how you want to lead as a woman and how to protect that as well.
Yes.
But also stand firm in your boundaries. So I learned a lot just being there for 2 weeks. I was out there solo dolo. I've never done that before. I really encourage women to do that. It's so empowering just to be able to say that you went to another country, a state or something, and did something for yourself. And so that's what that whole journey was about. This was May of last year. And so I just took time for myself. And from there, I reevaluated everything. That's when I went to Chat with D full time. And that's when I was able to just really figure out, all right, Deanna, what are we doing moving forward? And how are you going to be able to make a difference and balance out the feminine and masculine sides of myself so that I can continue to strive and be successful and not experience that burnout. So it's been good so far.
That's really important too, is that especially living in a city, is stepping away from the city life.
Yes.
And
have to.
I think people should make it their priority to even just go upstate.
Yes.
To go somewhere that's more rural and just don't do anything. Like, don't go to work. Like,
just, exactly.
Because
make time for yourself.
That experience back in December when my cousin hit me like, "Oh, you want to come to the Cayman Islands?" And I'm like, "Girl, I'm broke." She's like, "I got you." I'm like, "All right, we outside."
Right.
So I ended up going there, and it was very healing for me.
Yes.
Like, so healing for me. I didn't even know that I had so much built up emotions.
You don't know.
Like, I was unaware of it.
Yeah.
And I'm just ugly crying to her. I'm just like, it's so hard out there. You don't understand. Like, you guys got blue waters and
I know.
we don't got blue water. Like, and it was just so healing for me, that moment.
Yeah.
Because when you're in something, like I said, you don't see
Right.
it. Like, I born and raised in Brooklyn. Right. So
exactly, yeah.
It's always like on the go.
Yep.
On the go, next day. Let's go. You don't got time. You sick. We don't got time for that.
Exactly. And that's, honestly, it's not the way that we really should be living.
Yeah, no.
You know,
exactly.
we should be able to take time to just be.
Yeah.
And as a woman, like, that's where we thrive, when we're just being and
we should have like days
know?
Where we could get off because we're on our period.
No, but actually.
But like, for real.
No, but actually. And that's something that I hope to be able to put into my business. I continue to grow that as well, of just caring about people, having that empathy, you know what I mean? Because when you have that, then your employers are happy, and you're able, and things are able to flow so much easier. Like, even this collaboration that I'm building now, I'm always like, hey guys, you know, if you can make it to the meeting, awesome. Let's make it a priority. If you have something going on, just let me know. We'll get it done the following week. Like, I don't stress a lot of things. No pressure. I can't with the pressure sometimes. Right. Unless we're really hitting a deadline, then everybody knows to be able to act accordingly. Yeah. But I really just want to be able to have my business where it's like, I want people to be themselves. I want people to have that empathy for others as well, because we're all human at the end of the day. We're all trying to make it happen, you know, and you never know what somebody's going through. Yeah. You never know.
That part.
So yeah. Burnout can be a serious thing. It could be a serious thing. Yeah. But it's times where you need to take your paid time off, guys. Like, take your paid time off. If you have the luxury to do that, which you should, because if you work for corporate, like, that's usually set, and just take time for yourself. Even if that's you just, you know, hiding in your bed for a couple of days, you know, or going to the spa, or going into nature, because it recharges us.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah.
Mindfulness, guys.
Yes, mindfulness.
What does that statement mean to you, mind over matter?
Mind over matter. Everything starts in the mind. Any idea, anything you want starts in the mind. And your mind is your whole outlook and your perspective on life. And I think I was saying before about the affirmations, you know, about like saying that I deserve this, I can do this. And that's kind of like rewiring your subconscious to be like, rewiring your subconscious into a positive way versus negative. Right. So everything is mind over matter when it comes to working out, when it comes to putting your business in order, when it comes to hitting a deadline at work, when it comes to just hanging out with family and friends and, you know, making sure that you make that time. Everything starts in the mind first. So beautiful. Beautifully said.
Yeah. Just to piggyback off of that, I feel like anything that you are thinking, like your prominent thoughts that keep reoccurring, that's what's going to manifest in your reality. That's exactly what you're going to attract. Because some people always have a bad day because you're always expecting a bad day to happen to you.
Right. Exactly. So when there's a lot of good out there.
Yeah. I love that rewiring your subconscious mind, because it has been programmed since we came out the womb.
Yes, exactly. And there's another example I can take where I had the honor to be able to interview fashion designer Dapper Dan. And that was iconic.
Like, for real?
Yes, that was like, definitely. What? I know, that was iconic, and that was a blessing. And that had come from connections within my family and the generational building that we have done over the years. And he had spoke about how he had his trials and tribulations. Right. And if you know his story, you know, he was targeted several times by different big house designers and things of that nature, but he never gave up because of his mind over matter, you know, and one day everything just hit for him. Black Twitter came through, which is so crazy how it happened that way. But he was relentless in his pursuit because he knew his worth, he knew his power, and everything that he wanted to do in fashion, and everything eventually came to him. You know, same with another interview that I had with activist Felipe Luciano. He was a part of the Young Lords, and so they did a lot of work within the community and fighting for justice and rights right here in Harlem, Spanish Harlem. And so eventually when they kept pursuing what was right, having that mind over matter, a lot of things came to fruition, and they were able to get school lunch for a lot of the public schools here in New York City. So because they were so relentless in their pursuit and what they knew was possible, because it all started in their mind, it all came to fruition and it manifested for good. So those are some examples that I could share.
Right.
Yeah.
And that consciousness alone can change your whole trajectory of your life.
Right. Exactly.
Especially if you're used to being a very negative person.
Yeah. And sometimes we're so quickly wired to just be negative.
Yeah.
I think it's just like the human mind.
I feel like
you have to
it's
like
catered
rewind.
to, like,
Yes.
society caters to people who are negative. Like,
Yes.
oh, it's Monday. I don't feel like doing that.
Oh my
you know?
God, Mondays. Yeah. You see that?
Yeah,
I'm
that
even
whole
like,
concept. That whole concept.
right. So, no,
It's
I
funny
definitely get that.
because, like, I have Caribbean parents,
Yeah.
and they're always listening to the news out there. And I compare the news out there to the news here, and it's way, even though it's a lot of messed up stuff happening out there, it always feels more optimistic and uplifting when I'm listening to, like, the Caribbean news compared to American news, especially New York news, because, like,
Yeah.
they always go back to mindfulness. Like,
Yeah.
today's Monday, thank God for another day. They talk about
Yes.
God, actually.
Yes.
I've never turned on the news and I hear them talking about God.
No, they don't do it here.
They don't really do that.
They don't do it here.
Yeah, but, like, it's so powerful. It feels so
Yeah.
uplifting. I'm like, wow, I feel like I could conquer the day after listening to a program compared to, like, a program out here. It's
Yeah.
like, just another hot one, it's
Right.
another cold one. Like, everything
Yeah.
just sounds like you're complaining.
Yeah, I think there's just different agendas in different communities and cultures, and it just depends on exactly which one you want to follow. So
Right.
if your parents are Caribbean and that's what you know, I mean, you're already following it now with, mind over matter. You know what I
Right.
mean? So it's already embedded into you. That's your
Exactly.
roots. So you can be aware of these things that are happening in America and, just know that it's there and just know that there's another route that you can take in order to keep that
Exactly.
mindfulness. The Caribbean, I love the Caribbean.
Yep.
That's where it's always at, but
Shout out my people.
right.
There's a scripture that goes, I see by faith, not by sight.
Yes.
So
By faith. Not by
what
sight.
does faith mean to you, and how had that catapult, like that, how has faith been a catalyst to get you to your dreams?
And it's a good question too, because sometimes when we don't see the things that we have been promised, in a sense, then we tend to lack that faith. And I mean, I've had faith throughout my entire career, and I'm still very early in my career thus far in terms of like the work that I've produced with Chatting with Dee and other various projects as well. And it just kind of goes to show that you have to lean on that faith, because you never know what the next day, couple even hours, month, year may be. And it kind of brings me back to when we were speaking on the phone and coordinating the whole podcast. You had said, you're living the dream right now. And I was extremely stressed at that time because I was trying to coordinate several other things right now. And I was like, you know what, you're right. And so it just kind of gave me that moment of like 5-6 years ago where I was manifesting a life of travel and connecting with people and making things happen. I'm now living that. So it brought me back to that faith of like, okay, well, these things that I want in the next couple of years, if this is what I want, then this is what will be, and it's really crazy how life kind of comes, because it comes from the mind, you manifest it, but you have to be in that receiving mode and right mindsets in order to attract those blessings.
Yes.
Otherwise you will self-sabotage. So
That something popped into my head where I don't remember exactly where I seen it. Could have been a clip on Instagram or something, but it was along the lines of like, a lot of us are living in answered prayers.
Right.
But are we ready to have those prayers answered?
Yes.
I'm like, what?
That part.
Are you ready to have your prayers answered? Because like they say, more money, more problems. Like,
no, but actually,
the more you advance, there's going to be a new set of trials and tribulations. It's not going to get easier.
New levels, new devils. So
that part.
You know, so it just depends on what you're gonna focus on, and how you're gonna stay focused and have that faith.
Starve your distractions.
Yeah, starve your future focus, starve your distractions.
Exactly.
So yeah, faith plays a really big role, and just, you know, being in the Caribbean and doing the work that I've done out there, I've learned so much just about the people and my roots, where I come from. I'm Puerto Rican, Dominican, and African American. So I'm Spanish and Black. And just traveling back and forth, understanding who I am, where we come from. We are extremely powerful people. It's all within inside of us. And, you know, from within inside of us, that's how you got to know that it will be, if that's what you want. Yeah.
Wow. So eloquently said.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Okay, I feel like I hit all the hot topics.
Okay, cool. Nice.
Yeah, is there anything else you want to say before?
I'll really just say, you know, for anybody who's listening and is out there, just continue to step out of your comfort zone. Continue to watch Mind Over Matter, baby.
You heard it here first. You heard it. I'm clipping that.
Right. And just make sure that you're listening to your elders. They have the wisdom, and continue to feed into our youth, because they're the future. And continue to just uplift one another, uplift one another in our communities, and pay attention to politics, because your vote does matter. And we got some crazy times coming ahead.
Yes, yeah, so buckle up.
Yeah. Oh, and Chatting with D is where you need to be.
Oh yeah. Tap in.
That's
with
it.
Chatting with D.
Yes.
Link will be in the description. Everything, where to find her page. So yeah. If you listen to the end of another episode, I appreciate you. Like, you really listen to the end, like all the way through. Like, you love yourself. I know you do. I know you do. So make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend, grandma, mother, auntie, sister, that it's Mind Over Matter, baby.